right, Miss Best. So, wanted to talk to you a little bit about reading and writing and how this might have impacted your life.
Yes, I read a book this summer that was titled The Short and Tragic Life of Robert Peace by Jeff Hobbs. And in this book, it chronicled this man, Robert Peace, who was from an inner city in East Orange, New Jersey, very similar kind of upbringing to students that I have taught, to family members that I have known, to people that I can relate to, where he grew up, in poverty, didn't have much, and what he did have, he truly valued and possessed, and he had knowledge, and he was really smart. And his mom encouraged him to read often. His father was constantly helping him with his homework, and his school was constantly pushing him to do better. Ultimately, he made it out of East Orange, New Jersey, and he was able to go to Yale and receive an education where he graduated with 2 degrees in biochemistry and bioengineering. And students, let me let you know that those are 2 fields and 2 degrees that no one probably does together. They're equally tough, they're very rigorous, very challenging, and he mastered it with flying colors, graduated at the top of his class from Yale University, and ended up dying at the age of 30 because he got killed. And I had to consistently grapple with myself. If he had this great education, if he had all of these things going for him, then what was missing from his life that made him still die very tragically? He was shot in a basement, got tied up in the wrong crowd throughout his time. Why would that happen? And I thought about what it was that maybe I had that he was lacking, and I felt that that was a really great understanding of who he was as a Black man. And I think that he wasn't empowered in that way to understand his value and his worth as a Black man who had graduated from Yale with 2 degrees in biochemistry and bioengineering, and a magic that he could have made happen. He didn't understand that. And no one had ever taught him to that level. He was taught how to be smart. He had the will to be smart. He had the drive to be smart, but he didn't have an understanding of self to realize where he could push himself to go.
So, Miss Best, reading this book and reading his story, how did this change you? How did this give you power?
It made me start to think about what I could give my students that has nothing to do with the knowledge and education that we learn from books. What is it that I can impart upon them as a Black woman who has, been able to, who grew up in the projects as well, in Brooklyn, in Manhattan, and who also went to college and who also made it? I can give students an understanding of who they are as people. As our people were kings and queens, and were celebrated, and were smart and intelligent in the things that they've done, and just empower them in that light, that everything that is around them isn't negative. Every single thing that they see is not what is to be understood and to be made. And I know that once our students understand who they are as beautiful Black and brown children and celebrate that within themselves, they will grow leaps and bounds in directions that Robert Peace was just never able to go.